Gonna be some sweet sound coming round. Night shift. Oh, the night shift. What's up, Mike? How you doing, man? I just got off work, fired this up, man. Hey, Lions, what's up? There's June. I replied to you. I don't know if you saw it, dear. June is going to be kind enough to apparently welcome me in onto her live stream, which will be quite a bit of fun. How's everybody's day been so far? Okay, Jen, I'll check it after the live. We'll get it figured out. You guys hanging in there? You doing all right today? I hope so. Hi, Rebecca. Allison. Good to see all you ladies. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Dan. Glad to see everybody popping in this afternoon. Nice and chill. As I'm waiting for my chance to see pop up because I can't see anything. So I got to get the big print up on the screen so I can act like an old man. There we go. Like an old man. There we go. Finally, I'm here with you. Sorry about that, guys. Yes. We're going to go over a jigsaw again. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. All the ins and outs and the things, of the things to the things. Speaking of things, I have been doing things myself. Don't tell my boss, though. He'll probably get mad at me. So if you've been keeping track of what I've been up to the last few days, yesterday I was on and on about how I was going to use a brake rotor, make myself a cool little hand tool. And I was bouncing around the idea of a hand plane, specifically one of them Japanese jobs. I know I keep leaving the screen and you guys are just staring at my wall over there. Okay, here we go. I'll just stand back right here. So after you guys wrapped out and you got out of here, I figured there wasn't nothing to do it. Wasn't nothing to it but to do it. So that's exactly what I did. And this sucker's kind of thick. He's a big boy. But we got to chopping through it. I'm going to take a chunk of that, set that down there for now. And what I've got in mind is a special kind of hand plane. It's a Japanese hand plane called a kana. And it's usually a pull style plane. With Western hand planes, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but you usually push them in order to get your shaving. But with a Japanese plane or a Chinese plane, then you do it by the pull stroke. Okay, so let me fix the chats over here because it wants to act silly on me. Okay, I think we're looking a little better now. I don't know what's going on with the chat these days. So what I got it down to was I took a chunk of this guy. Well, you already saw it. Now I got it pulled down until I got me a real thick plane blade. Now, this is a sukai, which is specifically the blade that you need for a kana hand plane. And we need to make the body of it, which the Japanese call the dai. And I think I've got a couple of contenders. Thank you, Moyak. I appreciate it, man. If you guys aren't subscribed to Moyak, you should go check him out too. I know I bounce all of you guys around and tell you to subscribe to each other, but Moyak is no joke. Phenomenal wood turner, outstanding golfer, and all around quintessential smart ass beyond belief, and I love him for it. I think you will too. If you dig what I do, you'll definitely dig what he does. You usually find him palling around with Ryan at 77 Woodwork or 77 Rockets, or find him at a Mike at the Whacking Shack. Yeah, over at Timber Designs, they're usually doing some kind of something. And half the time it's up to no good. But sometimes not so much. So I got a couple of contenders for the wood body. Now, kanas all have wooden bodies. Just want to watch more. Just watch one of Moyak's yesterday. Good. I'm glad you did, man. So I think the idea is that usually the blade on a Japanese plane is seated very far back so that you've got a lot of registration in front of the blade and you can make those big pulls. I know you've seen the videos. They're usually on social media all over the place where they'll get those paper thin kind of ribbon shred. And it's just incredible. I think we may be able to do that. I think. Odds are, maybe not. But I think we can. And the first key is going to be this. Second one is finding us our wedge. And then we'll start chiseling out our plane body. I'm thinking out of this smaller one. It's really thin. So it seems a little odd when you compare it to a Western style transitional plane or something. But I think this is going to be just the ticket. So let's do this. Welcome back to the bench. Welcome back to my belly. Let's get some work in. I think the first thing we're going to need, obviously, is a good variation of chisel sizes. This will give our dear friend Heather her ASMR that she loves so much. And just to be fun, straight off of the slow boat from China, I went ahead and I ordered some Chinese marking instruments so that we can stay true to the craft. All right, so we know we're going to need our plane, our housing, not that big, and we need a little bit of gap. So remember we put the single bevel on our marking gauge? I'm going to put the bevel up against the blade so that it gives me just a wee gap. That should give me just enough play to be able to see what I'm doing. And give me a little wiggle room for this guy to get in there. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. I'm excited to do it. I think it's going to be fun. A couple of light passes with our marking knife. More than anything, we're just looking to sever the top fibers so that we can get a knife wall established. Start our chisel work. Now, a lot of this, admittedly, I'm just going to eyeball it so that I can hopefully, first off, gain a better understanding of exactly how this thing's supposed to work. But secondly, it'll teach me the mistakes that I need to avoid if I ever come back and reattempt this. And that's something I'll encourage all of you, that if you've never done something, then just get in there and give it a try. In this case, this is what I'm thinking. The worst thing that could possibly happen is that I lose this piece of wood. I think in exchange for the possibility of learning a new skill set, gaining interest and understanding into another culture and their ways of doing things, and maybe ending up with a cool hand tool in the process, I think it's worth it. Fair trade. So I know that I want my plane blade to be in there about a 45-degree bevel. And thankfully, I've got a 45 that will let me register to, again, give me a sort of eyeball so that I understand that's basically the angle I'm looking for. Poor Smoke. He has been fighting with that edit for days. How are you, friend? I hope you're good, man. All I'm doing is establishing the primary. Get my knife wall ready. Thank you for stopping in, man. We're glad to see you. I've already figured out that I'm pretty glad that I made this choice on wood. This wood came from a imported dining room table from one of them cheap furniture outlets. And the wood it's made out of is called luan, which is a form of Chinese mahogany. Which makes it kind of tough. Certainly tougher than pine or spruce or any of the soft woods that go around here. Maybe not quite as hard as maple or cherry, but a close facsimile. Now this takes a little bit of a different touch than a typical mortise, because remember, we're trying to go in at an angle. So we want to bevel as we enter in. And the reason for that bevel is that as we continue along, that'll be the back rest that our plane blade will be seated on. So we want that to be registered at a good, solid, consistent sloping angle. Without a whole lot of deviation to it. It is fun. It is absolutely fun to say about it. I'm just going along the two sides so that I can make sure I don't tear out any of the fibers on my layout lines. My neighbors are certainly having fun today, which I'm glad. You know what I think I'll do? Let's give the maiden voyage to our broad-faced mallet, the Spirit and the Y. What do you think? Let's give her a go. See how she thwacks. And thwack she does. I'm not going to do too much with it because I want to save it for the person that ends up winning this. For those of you that don't know, as soon as I hit 100 members, I'm going to go ahead and give a giveaway. I'm going to spin the wheel and I'm going to give this to one of you guys. No kicking in money. No, you have to buy tickets. Just be a member. And that'll be good enough for me. To know that I have your support means the world. I think I'm going to make me a plane stop right there. Give me just a second. Let me grab a piece of scrap wood. Gretchen, pleasure to see you. I'm so glad to see everybody today. We're just going to screw us a stop right into the bench. Ryan, good to see you, friend. Because remember, our bench is a working bench. It ain't meant to be pretty. It's meant to get the job done. So we're just going to drive us a stop right into the bench. That looks good from my house. I hope that you guys are in the mood for a little ASMR. Because in the spirit of the Sashimono style of Japanese woodworking that this thing is known for, it's all about taking your time, being patient, and exercising incredible precision. Demanding a calibration of precision that perhaps I haven't experienced before, or I've asked of myself. And I figure if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to give it the old college try, and I'm going to really get after it. Kind of get those last little fibers from that cut with a small paring chisel so that I don't compromise the integrity of the angle that I'm putting on the back of this slot. Oh, I bet the hammer's calibrated, but I can guarantee my hand's probably not. I hope every one of you had a phenomenal damn day. I really do. And as I understand it from the last few days of talking to some of you, you could damn sure use it. Kind of long overdue to have a good day. Back to the timeline. Absolutely, Mr. Schmoke. Appreciate you stopping by the shop to visit. The rest of you, if it's your first time here, pull up a stool, have a seat, find yourself a cold beverage. I'll do a little chopping, do a little talking, we'll do a little bullshitting. Let's see what we can't get done here. Sorry about that. Am I back? Can you guys hear me okay? Here, I'm going to clip it right here on my damn headband so I can keep track of that light. It'd be crap. We just changed mics. Hell with it. We'll change the whole damn microphone. Charge the other one. Screw it. There we go. West or Eastern Sashimono style woodworking was relatively unknown until a little bit after the Tokugawa era, when Westerners started arriving in Japan and the shipwrights started understanding that the Japanese had a lot of similarities of what we were doing on the Western world, but there were some stark differences as well. Most notably, for most of the tools, hand tools in particular, the distinct difference is that most of the physical force exerted on the tools in the Eastern world don't operate on the push stroke the way Western tools do. What I mean by that is, when I have a handsaw, a Western handsaw, then I push in order to make the cut. And this is how I execute. I make the cut by pushing. Whereas with the Japanese style or the Eastern style, I'll do it on the pull stroke. Now that seems minor in a lot of ways, but it is a monumental difference in the precision that can be easily attained. Lukey, good to see you. And the reason that that's so profound is because, well, let's take our, well, something a little bit flimsier. There we go. If I push with a bladed implement like this, and the teeth become bound up, then the saw has the tendency to bow. And it does this. So that renders some inaccuracy as the blade moves from side to side during each of the push strokes and wallows out the cut wider than it normally would. But if I'm pulling, the difference is the more I pull, the straighter this becomes. So I can achieve razor thin cuts with a very thin blade, very precisely. And that's the huge difference that set apart Sashimono from Western woodworking. That so many of the tools worked on the pull rather than on the push. This conoplane that we're making is no exception. Normally, the blade would be set like so, and with a Western plane, we would push. With this one, the intent is that the blade is on that end, and we pull. So it still introduces that ability to keep things straight and keep them true. I'm feeling paper cuts as you move that paper. Yeah. No, Gretchen, thankfully I'm I'm a little bit more thick-hided than that from years of doing idiotic stuff that tore my hands up, in conjunction with the fact that that paper was actually laminated. It wasn't all that stout. Now it seems like I'm going awful slow with this. And if it seems that way, it's because I am. I'm really doing my best to make sure that I stay precise with my movements rather than going whole hog 400-pound gorilla on this thing. Because I want everything to meet up nice and precise. And it's interesting because at the end of the day, it'll still function as intended. I'm fairly certain, even if things are a little bit sloppy. But again, that's the spirit of Sashimono. You really don't want sloppy if you can help it. The idea is to keep things as precise as possible. And with them exercising that with precision in mind and working slow to their goal, there are entire temples built in Japan that have stood there for literally 1,000, maybe 2,000 years, all made of wood. And the most astounding part of it all, without a single fastener anywhere other than dowel pins. And you don't get that good being sloppy. So I submit that neither should we. While we're sitting around watching me do this, why don't you guys tell me? Tell me about a tool that you've made. Is there a hand tool you were able to make on your own? How well did it work? Remember, this channel is all about self-sufficiency, man. I want to make sure that you guys can make do with what you have. And if it means you make a hand plane out of a table leg and a pickup's brake rotor, then hot damn, let's go. What I'm trying to do is set that corner Calvin from Dad's Workshop is in the house. Good to see you, man. We're going to start trying to evacuate the mouth of our plane, because when this plane blade goes in there, which, by the way, that's a good sign. I'm just a hair too small. That's actually perfect. That means that I can still fine tune this after the fact and get a very precise fit. But in the meantime and in between time, please take advantage of going to see Dad's Workshop. Go see all of my dear friends. Pay them a visit. and enjoy the wealth of knowledge that they have to give you. Now, to give you a heads up to let you know what I'm doing is I'm making a hole for the wood chips to be able to escape the wood shaving. And all we really need is there's going to be a couple of tabs sticking out over here, and that's going to be what our plane blade rests against. So now again, we're going to take our time. We're going to evacuate this. Using some of those carving skills that I've seemed to have picked up recently. And this will have a bevel going the other direction. And I already see this sucker trying to chip on me, and I'm not going to let it. No, sir. Today is not the day. Not today, Satan. That's not how this is going to work. We're just going to sever all of those fibers right off so that when this does pop out, there's the big guy. That's the money shot, right? And now you can see a detail of some of that Luan. Isn't that a strange, interesting wood? It's very spiny, very rough grain, but tight grain. Not a lot of voids in it. Quite the interesting species. You know, it's funny. They say great minds think alike. And a couple of days ago, as I jumped in for a live stream to fart around and play in the shop, maybe do something silly, I ended up carving what ended up becoming the handle of a mallet. And it was well received. Everybody seemed to like it a lot. Oh, we've already got a disaster. It's all right, though. I think we're going to be okay. Because we're going to be able to put that guy right back where she was. We don't need a lot. We just need to set him right back into place. Give this a little bit of clamp, and we'll wait for the West Texas sun to do its thing. While we do that, we can turn our attention back to the blade. And if it's okay, I'll dig into metalworking for just a little bit. Originally, I thought that this, hell, might as well talk to me. Originally, I thought that this was cast iron, which on a lot of older vehicles, the the brake rotors are usually made out of cast. Oh, I chipped off a little corner of the mouth, so I'm going to glue it back and let it seal up so that I can keep going. The cast iron rotors were usually pretty stout. And I was pleasantly surprised to find out that this one, from one of the newer vehicles, I think it's from a Dodge truck, is actually made of mild steel. Now, what's the difference between cast iron and mild steel? Let's discuss that for a little bit. I don't want to bog anybody down if you're not big into metal or if you're not interested in the metalworking, but I'm going to go off on a little bit of a plunge. The reason that mild steel is referred to as mild steel, and the thing that is key that makes all steels difficult or tough or soft, brittle, bendable, flexible, malleable, is its carbon content. Mild steel has very little carbon in it, usually 0.5, 0.25%. There's not a lot in it. Now, cast iron is a bit tougher in that it has more carbon. But sometimes that carbon content could be upwards of 20 to 25%. I mean, it gets up there. It's or 2 to 2.5%. It really gets up there. But the difference is how it is put into the shape that it's in. Oh, me, I haven't been able to accomplish much because of a number of things, but I'm good, just done with the day. My goodness. Oh, you guys are having a convo on this. Sorry about that. When something is cast, what I've done is I've made a void, a shape of the object that I want, and then I've poured molten iron into it and then let it cool until it solidifies. Now, that ends up making, if you looked at it under a microscope, cast iron looks less like the grain of wood, which steel looks a lot like. It looks a lot like the grain of wood with the fibers and the carbon impregnated to one another, and it makes sort of a grain that's really tensile strong. But by comparison, cast iron looks more like styrofoam. It's these beads of molten metal that have come together and just piled on top of each other and then cooled. The reason that's important is that the steel itself has more carbon and it's stronger, but that also makes it more brittle. You can bend a piece of styrofoam and you can just crack it apart, if that makes any sense. So if this was made of cast, then cast iron doesn't hold an edge very well, because as it's moving through and it's making cuts, it's knocking some of those little BBs of styrofoam off the end of the metal. So you end up with a jagged piece, and it just doesn't hold an edge for very long. You have to sharpen it again a lot, again and again and again. Whereas mild steel has the same process in the beginning. It's all liquefied and it's all heated in a forge and then it's poured out. But then as it's cooling, it's forced together with pressure forces. Like sometimes it's a press, sometimes it's a series of rollers, whatever it is, but it smashes everything together so that all of those BBs are literally fused with one another, and they're drawn out and stretched into this sort of a wood grain, if that makes any sense. So mild steel, even though it has a lower carbon content, that means that it's easier to bend. It does compromise a little easier, but the bonds between each of its particles are a lot stronger, and they'll bend and they'll flex and they'll do the things we need it to do. That's why when you see a rebar, for example, it's made of mild steel. you can bend it and it doesn't snap like a pretzel. I don't know if anybody cared about that, but I hope it made sense. Jasco, pleasure to see you, my friend. Good to see you, man. So I was pleasantly surprised when I found out that these brake rotors that I decided to use are not made of cast, but they're in fact made of mild steel, which is perfect. It means that I'm going to get a little more durability out of this while still maintaining the girth that I had. See, that sucker is awful thick. I mean, that's pushing 3/8 of an inch. So that gives me the weight and the mass that I need for a Kana hand plane to do what it's going to do. Thanks, Gretchen. I appreciate it. All right, so let's turn our attention to this mild steel as I continue to fashion this closer and closer to what we want for our plane blade. And this time, welcome back, June. Good to see you. This time I'm going to switch gears a little bit while that glue is drying. I'm going to grab a couple of different implements and we'll get to work. With your humble permission, back to the bench. Welcome back to my belly. So we're going to move our mat. Get out of the way. Don't care about what our bench looks like again because we use working benches, not pretty benches. And I have this rotating 360-degree little cheap vise that I was able to procure from the Hazard Fraught. That again, we don't care about the bench, so we're just going to screw this sucker right down to the bench. That way we know it's not going anywhere on us. Awesome. Good job, Jeff. I'll have to go check that out later. Jeff with 2-minute tips. He does great videos. He usually tells everybody what they're doing wrong, which is perfect because a lot of us need to know what the hell we're doing wrong. Jasco's got jokes today. I see him. I got you, man. What we're going to do is we're going to refine the back of this. Later on, we'll get to the primary bevel and start putting the secondary on. I think what I'm going to try to do is hit it with a MAP gas torch. Quench it in some oil to see if we can case harden the edge. And I'll explain that once we get to that point. Now, the good thing about this is you can tell maybe this isn't a 36 mild steel. When you're dealing with mild steels, they'll come in different grades. Think of them like the varying hardness in wood grains. Depending on the amount of carbon, the amount of heat they apply, all of that will change the grade of the steel. And if you listened, I'm going to try to get this on the mic. You hear how that's making almost a ringing sound as it's going across? It's because it's doing what's called skating. Skating means that the teeth of my hardened file aren't really grabbing a whole lot of this metal because it's too tough and it can't get a bite, which is actually good news for us. It means that our plane blade is going to be more durable than I originally thought. And it means that each stroke that we make with our hand file can be all that more precise because we're removing that much less material. Some people are averse to using hand files. I don't know why. They want to go to machine tools. They want to get a grinder, or they want to get a sander or something. That's all well and good. But I encourage you, just give it a try. It really doesn't take nearly as long as some people originally think. And it's a bit of therapy. It's kind of nice. Done with the smoke. Time to hit the vape. I'll let all of you guys speculate as to why I need a smoke and I need a vape. Let's just say one of these things is not like the other. It is the file and the vape. It's helping a lot. Once you get into filing and you're starting to feel the groove of it, you can actually get in the zone. You can just zone out. When you're not on a live stream, you can just throw in some earbuds, kick on a podcast, listen to some tunes, and really watch the day go by. All right, starting like that. I'm going to move to a little finer file. If it's all right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the filing process. Notice that as I'm using the file, I'm only pushing this way. Then I lift and I pull back. The reason for that is that your file, if you looked at it very closely, is made very much like a saw blade. It only cuts in one direction. And if you were to pull back, all you're doing is filling up the grooves of your file with the filings from the metal. By pushing all the way through and then lifting and coming back and doing it again, I'm shoving all of those filings off the side, so I'm not clogging my file up. And then with just one little flick of the fingers, my file is clean again. Take a look at our surface finish. Not coming out too bad. I think we're going to have a really, really great little plane here. As long as I can get the wood to play nice. See that initial, I'm just skating across because I got to get in beyond the temperer. Which means that I've kind of changed my mind a little bit about what I'm looking at. Why do I say I need to get in past the temperer? I had to stop and think about the fact that this was a brake rotor in a previous life. And because it was a brake rotor, that means brake pads pushed against it time and again, hundreds, maybe thousands of times. in order to stop the force of a vehicle that weighed multiple thousand pounds. And what did that do in the process? That generated heat. And it heated this metal again and again and again and again. So there's probably what's called a case hardening on the steel, where the exterior surface heated and cooled again and again, and subsequently brought the carbon atoms in line with one another and got a little tougher. Now I feel like I got past that. Let's take a look at that finish and see what you think. You can get an incredible surface finish. Thank you, Moyat. Appreciate it. And guys, I think the big thing that I want you guys to understand is that you can do this too. You don't have to go buy high dollar steel blanks, premium hardwoods. You don't have to have all that to get going. Hell, I'm making this out of a brake rotor and a table leg that I literally pulled out of somebody's yard. And at the end of the day, that's what the hell this channel is about, okay? I am not made of money. I have never been made of money. More times than not, I'm so damn broke, I can't even pay attention. But what I can do is take note of the ridiculous waste that's constantly happening around me. And with a little education, with a little practice, a little honing of skill, I can get things that are probably just as cool as the rich guys can get. And all it took for me was just a little ingenuity. If you're watching this either now or in the future, you may be in a spot where money's tight, bills are racking up, and you got a family that probably has a powerful desire to eat sometime in the next month. I tell you, one of the biggest reasons that I'm trying to put all of this out there is that I know the changes and the benefits that this has had on my life in a real way. Forgive me as I sit here and wax philosophical while I'm filing. I can't even begin to count anymore the number of times the light bill got paid because I could come out here and do something like this. I can't tell you the number of times that the car blew out a tire and a few hours out here meant that I could head down to the used tire shop, grab another piece of rubber to get us going down the road a little further. I remember times when I was in the Army. When supply trucks were miles away. And if you're in the field, you can't exactly head down to the 7-Eleven to go grab something. Norm, good to see you. So what did you do? You looked around at what was around you and you made do. I think that, in my opinion, that's an invaluable skill. And it pays off in real-time dividends a lot faster than you thought. Edges of our plane are looking really, really good now. I think I'm going to take and round these corners off. Give myself just a little bit of a chamfer. A little round over. Nice. Try and make them a little more pleasant to the touch. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I don't know if I'm going to have a finished hand plane by the time this is done today. Odds are likely not. But the idea is to present to you as many skills as I can. Don't be a Debbie Downer. That's a damn simple way to do it. You're right, Pilato. Pilato always has such a wonderful perspective on things. He's got easy solutions for everything. Well, hell, if you're too short, just grow. It's not hard. Pilato, how's the missus, man? Did y'all get released, man? You heading home? I'll give him a little while to type that. That's feeling really nice. If you hadn't had a chance yet, remember blacktreeengraving.etsy.com has been cool enough to decide to carry some merch for your boy. He can only type 10 words a minute. Yeah. I can only speak 10 words in a sentence, and then I got to stop for a minute. Hello, Miss Archie Doodles. I'm gonna just keep calling you Archie Doodles. I can't fathom another way to do it. I'm sorry. It's kind of like Pilato, you know. If Pilato wanted his name out there, then he'd have told you what his name was when he put his name in there. But he said he wanted to be Pilato, so that's what I'm gonna call it. This is feeling really good. As you can see, I got to do this, and I've got to continue on this primary bevel. I think, Jasko, it's a rumor, but I think her name is in fact not Archie Doodles. But I'm not calling anybody out like that. I'm just saying. I ain't trying to be that guy. See if I can find me another file with a little more oomph to it. I knew I had one. Look at this Nicholson, the freaking unit. That sucker's ready to go. Whoo. Daggone. I'm going to tighten you down a little tougher so you stop going around on me. Thank you for that. Please consider going over there. I've been getting bullied. I need to tell you all about it, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to burden you with my problems, but I've been getting bullied. That damn like button. He called me a stinky duty head. So please go over there and beat the hell out of that like button. And if you see that subscribe button, you end up kicking it in the face. You don't worry about that. That little sucker had it coming too. Do you see the abuse I have to contend with, people? If anything, help me endure. Palado's onslaught. By throwing some of them likes at me. Some of them subscriptions. That'd be nice. And Calvin, I'm sorry. Wes, if you're in here, I'm sorry. Everybody's doing a mallet thing. But this doggone mallet I made with the face carved into the handle. Well, that sucker's just too nice to be in here. Because if it stays in here, I'm just going to booger it up. Jasko, thank you, friend. Appreciate you, man. My idea is that mallet is too nice to be in my shop. So if I get to 100 members, I'll pull out that spinning wheel and nabes.com. Put all my members on it. And I'll give it to one of you. That sounds like something you'd be interested in. The rest of the members and myself would love to have you as part of the family. We have a show every Friday that we do called Shooting the Poop. That is an absolute hoot, if I do say so myself. What is the origin of the metal on filing? Let's show the man. It was about right there. This big Nicholson ain't no joke. This sucker is making pretty quick work of this plane bevel. If you are so compelled that you'd like to visit and take part in Shooting the Poop for the first time, I have to think that this weekend might be a good time to do so. As I'm of the opinion, I just might make it a members only party this time. I don't know for sure. Because as much as my wife won't let me forget it, it will be a special occasion. Well, Cali time, it'll be 5 o'clock, yeah. But it will be a special occasion this particular week. As Shooting the Poop happens to coincide with my birthday. Moyoc, thanks for coming in, Rich, man. Appreciate you seeing you. Stop by anytime. Pull in, have a beer. I will be turning 13 for the 4th time. Hello again, June. I will finally be a full deck of cards. I hope, if anything else, thank you, Doodles. Appreciate it. I feel like much of my life is very much like the man in the movie Big Fish. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that movie. in the movie Big Fish, a man is approaching his deathbed and throughout his life he's told a myriad of incredible stories about things that he's done and he's seen in his life. And frankly, everybody in his life thinks that he just tells tall tales and he's full of crap. Hello, Junior. How are you, Spawn? Enjoy dinner, Dan. Appreciate you coming in. Well, as the movie progresses, they find this trunk of souvenirs and memorabilia and such that throughout the course of the movie actually confirms that the stories that he used to tell everybody were 100% true. Hell, are you kidding? They don't play cards anymore, Jasco. They don't even know. They wouldn't know what to do with a deck of cards if you gave it to them. No worries. What am I doing out here? I'm building a rocket. Okay. Hey, would you grab me one? Thanks, man. The spawn units say hello. To preserve their anonymity, you can call them Big T and Little T.
I'm Big T.
Yes. It takes a minute to delay. Here, you want to talk to them? Here, take the microphone.
Hi, guys.
Like I said, it takes them a hot minute, but that was fun.
Pretty cool. I don't know how this live stream stuff works.
Well, it's pretty easy, actually. They're all watching me on YouTube as I'm sitting over here building a rocket.
You're building a rocket?
I am building a rocket. Awesome.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
After this, I need to build a ramp. You want to help?
You want this back?
Love you, kid.
Okay.
No problem, Jasco. I know you've been fighting with that damn video for days, man. I can't wait to see it when it's done. See you, Jasco. This was quite rough, taking it off of the brake rotor, but we're making some progress. The unit is definitely helping. Them little files was like peeing on a forest fire. I wasn't doing anything with that. Still got 14 people. Nice. Anyway, I mentioned Big Fish because when I say that my birthday means I'm going to be a pack of cards old, I feel, and maybe a lot of you do, it's a little bit deceptive because I ran hard in my first half of life. shot, stabbed, electrocuted, set on fire, attacked by guard dogs, thrown off rooftops. So my body feels like it's a little bit more than 52. But I think I'd be pleased to have all of you there. And again, I'd be honored. So we're not counting jokers? No, not yet. $52 cards down and 2 more still to drop. Bonus points to you if you got that reference. Was I a stuntman? Shit, I wish. Might have some money if I did. Hey, Beck. I'm Mike. Hashtag dad jokes. Guess you're sick of watching me, huh? You probably want to get back to what I'm doing. Let's go see. They never do. And speaking of classics dying, Wes, they figure out what they have with that truck? Did they get a goddamn alternator on it yet? Give you another serpentine? Wes has a wonderful 95 Silverado extended cab. Pretty cool little old truck. You have been getting rained on quite a bit. I will probably get somebody hating on me, but I would never drive a Ford to save my life. You might as well just kiss me goodbye. Ford, standing found on the roadside dead. Fixed or repaired daily. They are ugly. Oh, Calvin, I was talking about how I'm not a Ford guy. I'm sorry. We're getting a lot of progress, man. We're starting to get there. Yeah, I'd do a Range Rover in S10. I'd do that. Plywood said, I got a Ranger. Come get it. It's a blast from the past. I bet West, the only one's going to know what I'm talking about. Maybe some others. The last time I think that Chevrolet made a decent compact truck was the Chevy Love. You spelled those L-U-V. I think it stood for light utility vehicle. And the Chevy Love was no joke. That sucker would get you to work. I promise you. If half of it was falling apart, it'd still get you to work. And the tailgate didn't even have tailgates. It didn't have like a damn... It didn't even have a lift handle. It had these toggle clamps you had to undo in order to drop the tailgate on it. Do I mean the Taurus? Oh my. Well, Archie, I believe you're in the UK, aren't you? So I know that the nomenclature changes depending on where you are. The Honda Odyssey. My God, here we go. She broke out with the minivan. She's that girl with the minivan that's got a VTEC in it. Damn thing's doing 35 by the time it hits the power band in fourth gear. VTEC power, baby. The Isuzu Pup. Yeah, I remember that. I think back in that time, there was a whole cornucopia of little trucks that came out that way. And everybody got in this big battle to trying to sell everybody compact trucks. So you had like the S10, you had the Isuzu Pup, the Mitsubishi Mighty Max, which was also the Dodge, D2000 or whatever the hell they called it, D20, D200. Yep, the Mazda B2Ks. But if I had to pick one out of that whole genre of pickups that came out right all at the same time, I think it'd have to be the Nissan Hardbody. That truck went hard. It really did. Yes, sir. And then all of us kids got a hold of them and turned them into mini trucks. Slammed them on the ground. 100-spoke D's. Hello, Francis. Good to see you. If you were really cool, you could get some hydraulics. But more times than not, if you was in high school and you was rocking a mini truck, you didn't have money for all that, so you just softened the leaf springs and dropped it down on its ass. Francis, I am going after a plane blade for a Japanese plane called a kana. Hello, Delan. Pleasure to see you in, friend. Norm, thank you for coming in, man. Good to see you, brother. Nikki New! How are you, sweetheart? I'm doing phenomenal, Delan. I am showing everybody the ASMR goodness that is chilling out with a hand file. We are pot committed at this point that we are going to make a Japanese style kana hand plane. And in typical Mike is making stuff fashion, I am doing so out of junk. A table leg and the mild steel I cut out of a brake rotor. I did. Funny story, the other brake rotor is over there. It's a base for my new laser table. It doesn't seem like I'm doing a lot here, but okay. It doesn't seem like I'm doing a lot here, but the top of this was awful rough because it was skated out by the by it being a brake rotor in a previous life. So it's there's a lot of material to take off of this face, and this Nicholson is making quick work of it. For those of you who aren't, I'll double back and I'll show you again because we've got a new batch of people in here watching. A few lives ago, I am working some tries, that's for sure. I ended up making the Spirit and the Y, our hand-carved mallet. If you're not a member of Mike is Making Stuff, I would strongly encourage you to go take a look. It's awful cheap. I don't even think I made it $3. I think it's $2.99. As soon as I get to 100 members, I will throw everybody, all the members, in a wheel of names, and we'll give that sucker away to somebody. And if that wasn't incentive enough, I'll just tell you all the cool kids are doing it. You should do it too. Show it again. It's an urban legend. All right, I'm going to try not to touch it too much because I got metal filings all over my hands, but here we go. I believe I will be joining Delan and Amy Jo this weekend as well to continue my journey of learning how to carve. This next time, I think I'm going to try a Dremel. That little face I put on there, I didn't do that with nothing but a knife. I think that the Dremel may expand my repertoire a little bit. If you feel so inclined to do so, I'd also ask you to go show some love to Delan and his channel. As I understand it, he's going to need all the members he can get because he busted his damn Dremel today, I think. I believe I seen him make a community post earlier where he blew his damn Dremel all to hell. So, for just 60 cents a day, you can help a wood carver like Delan afford the Dremel, the burrs, and a chance to go to school. In the arms of the angel, I'm waving here. Yeah. Is that how them commercials go? I think the top is getting really close. Thank you, Gretchen. Appreciate it. I keep alternating back and forth. Mostly because I want to work this and keep that level even. And secondly, because it gives me an excuse to take a break for a hot second and let my triceps stop burning. Thanks, Wes. Now I'm thinking about it. I was cool until you reminded me. But as Wes will tell you, he's just here to speak truth. All right, I'm going to cheat for this last little leg. I'm going to go hit the sander real quick and take these last miniature scratches out of this. Give me 2 seconds. Be right back. That sucker getting a little warm. Call the police and the fireman. Too hot. Hot damn. It is getting hot. Yes, sir. Hold on. Woo. Say my name, you know who I am. It's too hot. I can't touch it. Do. We are much closer to our kind of played blade. We've repaired the chip out on our body. You have to wait. So we can continue this as we continue to move on. I believe I'm going to call it a day. It's hotter than fish grease out here. If y'all are okay with that. Again, consider membership. Again, thank you, Jasco, for the super chat. That was absolutely amazing. Consider membership. Consider subscribing. Black Tree Engraving at Etsy.com. blacktreeengraving.etsy.com. Local guy taking care of merch to get you guys all set up. I love each and every one of you. I'll probably catch you tomorrow. I'll do another live. See you later, guys.